We're live. Hey!
What's up?
What the world? So, normally it's just me in my car.
But you guys get me today. Well, kind of. You get us both.
Just comfy cozy on our couch. We've been having lots of chats lately.
Have we?
Stop.
No, we have. We've been sitting on quite a bit for quite a while, and it's been interesting. We've been in life for how many years now? How many years have we been married?
Well, 17 married, 18 knowing each other. Because fun fact, met to married exactly a year to the day. Continue.
But I feel like in those 18 years that we've known each other, the first couple years when we became married and got together, we were in ministry together. We were kind of on the same path, and then opportunities arose, and I think that we both kind of chose different paths. And I'm not saying that we split up or anything like that, but there was just a change that happened on the inside of us, and it may have just been for a season. I think that was kind of the season that we kind of walked through. But now we've kind of come back to this season where I really believe that the Lord is calling us to build something together, to do something together. And I'm really excited to see where we go.
Well, and let's just say, I mean, it's probably my fault. We may have started together and kind of went like this. And never in our marriage did we feel separated.
No.
But we have different speeds. Okay. He lives with me, and he knows that I have two speeds: lightning and sleep. I mean,
Those are facts.
People ask him all the time, they're like, how do you live with her? And he's like, oh no, I know what you see. And I'm totally, we don't know how to be anything but authentic, because faking, you would see it all over us. Just like lying, you would see it all over us. We don't know how to fake, we don't know how to lie. But it was just I am just go until I crash. Whereas he is very much, he is steady, he is internal processor, he's very deep. I always love, y'all get to see me in front of the camera a lot, and he's often behind the scenes. But this man is intense. I always used to say, don't even take me on any more dates, because all you do is ask me these deep questions and I just cry, And by the way, if you're joining us, we actually want to wrap up each live with prayer requests. So if there's something that we can partner with you and pray about, go ahead and put that in the comments. And if you want to share, great. This is kind of just a fun first organic. So we started off in ministry, and we started off not any sort of together. In fact, if you've ever heard our story, I let him know from the get-go, this would never happen. And now we sit in our own home, on our own couch, 18 years together. So, it is what it is. Apparently, I didn't know anything, and he knew exactly what was going to happen. But I remember even just as individuals, not married, not dating, not interested, although you always were, but we'll get to that in another live.
Yes, always.
But we would literally talk over the table, gushing over Jesus.
Yes.
And I think, again, if you've ever heard our story, he saw me from the stage, and he saw who I loved, who I was sold out for, and that is what attracted him to me. And so getting to know each other just on a heart level of knowing him, it's how it always started. And in these days, babe, I'm sure you sense the same, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. But I feel like not only are so many searching, and not only are people asking real questions and maybe have eternity on their mind, but it brings us back to the fact that all that matters is to know him. And so if we can play any part in not only us in our pursuit, because again, we only know how to be authentic. We only know how to give you what is real to us. And what is real to us is that knowing him is the only thing that matters. And sharing in conversation, whether with each other or with you guys, to just gush over Jesus, gush over the goodness of who he is. And I'm going to pitch it to you, but I was praying earlier, or maybe just thinking on him and things of him. And I was like, you're just too good. You're just too good. And then I'm like, ceased my verbiage. And I was like, wait a minute, he's not too good, because too good means rein it back. And I don't want him to rein anything back. I want him to be full-blown, the God of the universe, all-encompassing, all-knowing. Bless my socks off. Reveal what you have. Be all that you can, or at least all that I can handle in this moment. And so he's not too good. He's so good.
So good.
So yeah.
I love it. Well, I was going to start somewhere else, but I think I'm going to actually shift things. And one of the things that I really want to bring to this channel, and please bear with me, this is my first time I'm stepping into lives. I'm trying to like look at my wife, but look at the camera, and I'm trying, okay? So just bear with me as I go.
Give some love in the comments. Go ahead.
Yep, I'm going to need it. I need some encouragement. But one of the things that my wife and I were talking about was, one of the things that's been rising up on the inside of me is the fact that there's so many in the world that know about Jesus.
Oh, come on.
But how many really know him? And that's one of the things that I really want, or we really want within this thing that we're starting, is people to really know Jesus and really know who he is and really understand how he sees them and how they are his beloved and how he wants to partner with them. You know, Jesus' prayer was that we would be in him as he is in us, as he is in the Father. And I love Jesus in John 5. He says, most assuredly I say to you, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he sees the Father do. The same thing happens with us. God has called us every single day to opportunities. I want you to actually share a testimony, babe.
Sure. What?
I want you to share your testimony of when you were in your house praying and the Lord spoke to you, gave you a vision of a girl on LCC campus.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember how I got there, but I remember that I was spending time with Jesus, right? In the Word, and prayer. And all of a sudden, I saw, and I wouldn't say it was like as real as my walls, okay? I knew that I was on the local campus, which was LCC in Longview, Washington, and I saw a girl sitting alone by herself on just a grassy like hill, for lack of a better word. And I kind of was like, what is this that I'm seeing? And I felt Holy Spirit whisper, go find her. And I was like, go find her? Like, does she even exist? Is it now? You know, and of course, like, you're kind of rolling all of this around in mere seconds. And so I did. I went to LCC. I found a girl. Her name was Kayla. And she was all alone on the grass on LCC's campus. And I literally just engaged in conversation. And I sat down and we were chatting, and she was struggling and she was searching. And I literally got to not only let her know that God sees her and God has sent me to her that very day, but I also got to pray with her. I got to lead her to God. And so it just goes to show, like, he knows who's crying out to him or who is desperately seeking and might not even know what they're seeking. He knows who's ready and open to hear. And that day it was Kayla. And I'm just so grateful. I didn't foo-foo it off like, oh, that's just weird, you know, but instead it was like, I think probably in that hour, which I don't know for sure, but it was like, what do I have to lose? If there's nobody on the grass, then there's nobody on the grass.
Let's go.
But I think that if we don't honor and obey those promptings, what happens is worse. And the worse is the wonder. The wonder of, oh my goodness, what if that was real? What if somebody really needed me? What if somebody was on the brink of hurting themselves, or worse, doing something to end a life and make an eternal decision? And so just, that's what happened. And like I said, the details are fuzzy, but I just remember being so grateful that he spoke, I answered, and that connection happened, and he used me. I've always been undone over the fact that he chooses to partner with me. Friends, I live with me. Like, I'm not that great. He lives with me. I'm not that great. But that the God of all things, who created all things, would say, hey, Amber, you want to do something with me today? Yeah, yes, I do.
I love it. I love it. That reminds me, in the book of Acts, Philip was actually, it says Acts 8:22 said, or 8:26, sorry. And now an angel of the Lord spoke to Philip, saying, arise and go toward the south along the road which goes down from Jerusalem to Gaza. It says, this is the desert. So the place where you probably don't want to go, but the Lord called him. So he arose and went. Again, what you were talking about, obedience when the Lord calls you. And behold, a man of Ethiopia, a eunuch of great authority under Candace, the queen of the Ethiopians, who had charge of all her treasury and come to Jerusalem to worship, was returning, and sitting in his chariot, he was reading Isaiah the prophet. Then the Spirit said to Philip, go near and overtake this chariot. And if you've read the story, you know that Philip gets onto the chariot. He then shares with the eunuch. The eunuch then accepts Christ. He gets baptized. He's so excited. And then Philip gets transported to the next city. I mean, that would be pretty sweet.
That'd be...
I pretty much would be down for that.
Check it out.
But, like, going back, you were just in your room.
Yeah, I was in our living room.
Mm-hmm. And you were just praying.
Were we not married then?
We were married.
So our house.
I guess it was our house. But yeah, I would have been at work because you would have been at home. So I guess you would have been at our house. So, but with that, like, I want everybody to understand that God has plans for each and every one of us every single day. And he wants to bring opportunities our way for us to step into. One of the things that's been burning on my heart for the last year to 2 years, maybe even longer than that, is this man named Ananias. And Ananias is a nobody. Nobody knows who he is. Nobody knew anything about him. He wasn't part of the disciples or the apostles. He wasn't part of the big group. I'm sure he was part of the church, obviously. But we don't have any information that says that Ananias was somebody that was large, somebody that was important. All we have is that Acts chapter 9 verse 10 says, now there was a certain disciple at Damascus named Ananias. And to him the Lord said in a vision, Ananias. And he said, here am I, Lord. We have so much opportunity when we get our time with the Lord for him to open up the heavens in a sense. Ananias would go on to go pray over Paul, or Saul, who then became Paul, one of the greatest evangelists for the Gentiles. Yeah. I mean, he wrote most of the New Testament. And Ananias actually fought with God in his quiet time about going and praying over Paul, or Saul at this time, because he was murdering the Christians. He was causing havoc. He was the main push of persecution to the church. And yet God called him to be his chosen vessel to the Gentiles. And so Ananias then rises up and he ends up going. Now, I don't know if Ananias was told where to go. He just said that there's Paul's on Straight Street. And if you know anything about Damascus, Straight Street is the street that goes from one end of Damascus to the other end of Damascus.
So straight.
Straight. Very straight. And this could be, I don't even know how many miles this street could be. And so I don't know if Ananias was given like 1442 is where he was supposed to go, 1442 Straight Street, but he ends up going to the house where Paul was, or Saul was. And so maybe he had to go on Straight Street and knock on every door. Is Saul here? No? Okay, sorry. Is Saul here? We don't have the answers to know if God gave him exactly the place that he was supposed to go, or if he was persistent in the fact that he continued to go through Damascus until he found Saul. So there may be times where you may show up and, like my wife was saying, if I go up and there's this grassy knoll and there's nobody there, what have I failed? But if God continues speaking to me, I'm going to continue searching. I'm going to continue looking.
Well, and go back to the fact that, Ananias was a nobody. I think a lot of the times we think we have to be a somebody to do something. And wasn't it just yesterday we heard, God can find you in the back of the desert. He can find you anywhere. He's just looking for somebody whose heart posture is towards him. And I think that's another just cry of our heart is, religion is rampant, but relationship is where we have to get back to and where we want to pursue. That's what he's after. He's not after a religion, a sect, a denomination. He is after a relationship. He wants to know you and he wants you to know him. It's a relationship, And so just really making that your heart's cry today. I want to know you. I want to know you. Show me an aspect of you or speak to me any way you wish, or I want to know you. May that be our cry, is to know him. And friends, we mentioned prior, earlier on in this live, people are seeking and people are searching and they're asking questions, and eternity is on the forefront of so many minds where maybe it hasn't been in the past month or a couple of months. And so may you and I be ones who live to know him, in a relationship to know him. But also, if you are somebody who comes across the two of us and you are asking the questions and you are maybe just testing out religion, I pray that you would get some nugget within just our story or what we share that would push you to know him.
Yeah, I love John 15:5 is one of my life verses. It says, I am the vine, you are the branches. He who abides in me and I in him bears much fruit. For without me you can do nothing. If anyone does not abide in me, he is cast out as a branch and is withered, and they gather them and throw them into the fire, and they are burned. But if you abide in me, and my words abide in you, you will ask whatever you desire, and it shall be done for you. By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit. Yeah. It's so interesting. I don't know if you guys have conversations with God, but I've had some of the most incredible miracles happen in my life when I've just been having conversation with God, when I have an ear tuned toward the Lord. One of the testimonies I want to share is when I was in Longview, Washington. I used to work at Wilcox and Flagel, and I used to have to dip tanks at Wilcox and Flagel, and for I don't know how long I was there. I was in the warehouse for over a year and a half. And I remember one day I had to dip tanks on a Monday, and if anybody knows the Pacific Northwest rains
a lot.
And I remember walking out, and it was a miserable day. If you don't know Wilcox and Flagel, basically it's a oil company. We were right next to the Columbia River, so it was super windy, super rainy. It was just miserable doing the job that I had to do sometimes. But I remember I was walking up the tanks, and I'm just talking with God, and he goes, Austin, do you want it to not rain? And I thought, well, yeah, sure. I would love that. If it didn't rain, okay. That would be great. And I remember getting up, and I'm just walking up, talking with God, and he goes, why don't you ask me?
Oops, sorry.
You're good. And I said, okay. I said, Lord, actually, I would like it to not rain on me as I dip these tanks for as long as I work here in this position. And prayed the prayer, finished the day, and I came back the next Monday, no rain. And I didn't really pray again after that. It was like one of those things where what I had asked, I will receive. And it's not like I'm going to keep going back to it because the Lord was already doing it. He had already begun answering, even though it was a continual type of thing where it happened week after week after week. You guys, I did it for 6 months.
So good.
And it never rained on me while I was dipping the tanks. And if Matt Kroom watches this,
Yeah.
he can vouch because he was my manager. And I remember going in and telling him, Matt, it didn't rain again. Matt, it didn't rain again. Look outside, it didn't rain again. But what I can tell you is when I would walk out some mornings, I remember waking up a couple mornings and I was like, it's over. I remember some Mondays I walked out and I was like, it's over. There's no way. It's just black above me. There's no way it's going to be pouring. And I tell you guys, it was like a knife went up in the sky and split the clouds above me. And I could see blue sky and it didn't rain on me from, I think it was 9 to 10 every single Monday morning as I went about my job dipping the tanks. Now after that, it began to pour. And I remember we were doing a college ministry at this time.
Yeah. So he starts testifying every, at the college ministry.
My goodness. And one of the guys in our college ministry wakes up Monday morning and he's like, oh, Austin's praying. I'm going to ride my bike to school because it's Monday. Austin's praying and it doesn't rain on Mondays.
It's not going to rain.
And so he rides his bike to school instead of taking the bus. And when he gets to ride back home, he said it was the worst monsoon he's ever had to ride through in his entire life. And I was like, well, the Lord held back the rain. I didn't know it was going to smash you, buddy, but it's
next time
only
you should pray.
And that's what that's what I told him. I was like, maybe you should pray that the Lord will hold back the rain for you. But as we begin sharing these testimonies, watch how faith begins to rise in people. God is looking to do little things like that in your life every single day. And it pleases him. Yes. It
pleases him that you ask, and he loves to show up and show off. Like, you cannot attest that to anybody. Who else can turn off the rain? Please tell me. Nobody.
Elijah?
Well, okay. But who did he pray to?
Yes.
So, I mean, it's just, oh my goodness. I was checking to see if you guys had any prayer requests. That's a real thing, if you have a prayer request. Because as you can see, just to his testimony, we actually have brought things before him. I mean, I can't even tell you, and I actually love this part of my relationship with Jesus, and I just gush over him because nothing is too small. You may think, this is such a small request, but if it matters to you, then it matters to him. And again, I'm not saying he's some genie and you rub he gives you whatever you want. That's not what I'm saying. But when you're in relationship with him, you ask things and he loves to answer because your heart posture is towards him and for him.
I have to testify again. My goodness. It's like she's serving me softballs, okay? I've got to do this,
And he's going to testify, and if you have any prayer requests, you're going to put them in the comments so that we can, give him a final word and mosey on. Mosey on.
So I remember when I was 17, freshly saved, I had my clutch go out in my car, and my school was about a mile away from my house, and so I had to walk home. And again, it was all in conversation with God. I remember I was walking home with God, and I was praying, I was talking with God, I was all alone. Can I just say, I don't have my phone because it's up
right
there. I went to go grab my phone and I couldn't grab it. But phones, I struggle with this. I'm sure you struggle with this at times, but it is the biggest distraction, and it will actually pull us away from having conversation with God because we'll pull up our phone to look at something or be distracted with something instead of having our conversation and our ear towards heaven. But I remember when I was 17, I had just given my heart to the Lord and I was walking home. It was pouring down rain. And I remember just what you were talking about. He wants to give you those desires of your heart. It's not this genie rubbing the lamp thing, but I was walking home and it was pouring down rain. And I remember talking with God and I was like, you know what I love, God? I love when those beams of light come through the dark clouds. And I didn't ask him to stop the rain. I didn't ask him to open up the clouds. I didn't ask him to do any of that. I just was talking with God, and I was sharing how I love seeing when the beam of light goes through the darkness. And I'm telling you guys, it wasn't even 5 seconds later, and the clouds split. The beam of light comes down, and I'm walking home, and it doesn't rain on me the rest of my walk home. Did he have to do all that? No, he didn't have to. Did I ask him to do all that? No, I really didn't. Was it a desire of my heart to not be rained on? Well, yeah, if I'm honest, it was. But he was wanting to just give me a good gift in this moment. He was wanting me to see that he heard me.
There you go. You were just talking to your daddy.
And I was just in conversation with him.
And he's like, here you go, son. Let me show you what you love.
That was so beautiful.
It's so good. And there's really nothing too small. And yet, honestly, there's nothing too big either. Okay? He wants to show up for you. He wants to be Yahweh Yireh, the provision, the God of more than enough. And I know a lot of the times we hear that and we think monetarily, okay, fine. But listen, friends, your more than enough could be whatever circumstance you find yourself in. Maybe your more than enough means that you actually do need a God job. Maybe you do need him to come through for the bills. I'm actually thinking of last night, and if we'll ever end this live, I don't know we ever will. We'll just talk forever.
Well, we love Jesus, and we love talking about what he's doing.
Yes. So we moved to Georgia. We're a part of the North Georgia Revival, and we get to see a variety of things go on there. And last night, there was a 23-year-old, and he has gone through 2 liver transplants. His coloration was scary. I knew something was off right when he stepped onto the screen. I was in the room, but I watched it on the screen. And I thought, my goodness, he is young. But yet his tummy was really bloated. He really looked pregnant. No men cannot be pregnant. I know we have to say that these days. And so we came home, and mind you, God showed up in the water. We're expecting a full-on testimony. His pain went from a 7 to a 0 after being immersed. All the things that are amazing, but we obviously want to see the fact that his liver is now functioning in Jesus' name. His kidneys are now functioning in Jesus' name. He has a diagnosis of not even going to make it a week longer. We're talking dire situations. And we're just believing God, did everything he is able to do right there in that water. Well, we come home, he's serving in the water, so I'm in charge of the circus, which is our 4 babies. And I feed the kids, put them to bed, all the things. Yes, it's 9:30 and they're eating. And it's after 10 o'clock, and my daughter came home, Mommy, I can't sleep, or from her room. And I was like, Asia girl, you just have to close your eyes. You have to just go to bed. I thought she was wired. She came back down, Mommy, I can't sleep. And she starts crying. She goes, I know why. And I said, why? She goes, I'm scared. I'm so scared. And I said, why are you scared? And she said, I don't know. I said, you do know. I said, what's going on in your head? What is your head saying? And it finally came out, and she said, Mama, I don't want to be like that boy. I don't want to be sick like that boy. And 2 things. 1, our children, 2 specifically, 3, maybe all, are very tender.
Yes.
They are very tender. They are tender to the things of God. They are tender to people.
Yes.
They are very observant. They are tender to the Spirit. They are tender. So while I know that they will be mighty warriors for the kingdom, right now they are children. And they don't know how to do the differences of he's a big God and he can do everything and I don't have to fear. And yet I'm a child and I see something that's so real, and that boy has no color, or he was very jaundiced. And he's not okay, Mama, and I don't want to be that boy. I don't want that to happen to me. And so I just got to hold her in a very uncomfortable position and just speak to her and say, wait a minute, Asia girl, this is not your portion. Your portion is not fear. I said, you are being tormented right now by an enemy who likes to whisper in your ear and say, you could be like that boy someday. You could be in pain and on your deathbed at 23. And you have to teach them. You have to teach them that a good God did not give that sickness to that boy. Now he is able to take it completely in a moment or over the next week or expand his life or whatever, however he chooses to do it. But friends, you and I can get stuck in our mental space. You and I can sit there and spin and worry. Our babies can sit there tormented by the evil one. When really, again, let's go back to the fact that Yahweh Yireh means he is your provider. He is more than enough. He can grant you shalom, peace, which is nothing missing, nothing broken. I got to sit there and I got to hold her and I got to speak truth over her and speak who God is and who he is and what he is capable of. And that anything against who he is and opposite of his character and what does not align with his nature, that is not truth. That is not truth. And so friends, if you do not know that you know that you know who he is, who his character is, what his character is, what the nature of God is, I am sorry to tell you, while I believe we are coming across and upon glorious times, an incredible hour of which we all are going to get to live in, you have to choose if you're going to be ready for it. And you better get in that quiet place sometime today. You better start your day tomorrow getting to know him. Because if you do not recognize the direct line of which you have with him, if you do not realize the voice and how he speaks to you, the days ahead are going to feel dire. You're going to need him as a lifeline. You're going to need him to show up as Yahweh Yireh. You're going to need him to comb through the narratives that are constantly bombarding your mind, your doorway, your babies, your family. Right?
That's right. And I want to encourage you. While you were in the car, try not to listen to music. Try not to listen to certain things. Try to listen to God. You're not supposed to be on your phone. This is a good time to put your phone down.
Come on.
This is a good time to have your quiet time with God. Now, I'm not saying you can read your Bible while you're going through, but there's something about tuning our ear to heaven and listening to God as we are driving, as we're going. I know in Georgia, like everything's 20 minutes away.
Golly.
Everything is at least 20 minutes away for us. And so we have this time where we can spend time with God, we can listen to God and not be distracted by whatever is on our phone, not be distracted by what's happening in the world, because you're just driving.
Yep.
So have an ear towards heaven. You know, one of my I don't know if he's a hero, but one of the people that I want to follow is Brother Lawrence. And Brother Lawrence, all his life, all he wanted to do was have an ear towards heaven. He practiced the presence of God. He practiced having an ear to heaven. He practiced every day focusing as much time as he possibly could on God while he was doing whatever it was, as he was working, as he was at home, as he was going about his business. He wanted one ear to heaven at all times.
So good.
And I want to challenge you this week, or even today to start. Where are some times where you can put an ear to heaven, where you can listen to what God may be saying to you? And one of the things that I also want you guys to do, if you could, I would love to hear your testimonies about what God has done with you as you have put an ear to heaven, even if it's just a word that he spoke to you, if it's something that you had to be obedient in, and after you were obedient, what happened? How did God show up? What did that look like as you stepped over that discomfort or that chicken line, as Joel Crumpton would say? What happened as you stepped over the line and stepped into what God had prepared for you that day? So many times we will be distracted, we will be focused on other things. It's so easy to have all of those things happen, but I really want you to focus on him.
Yeah.
Even if it's 5 minutes, if it's 1 minute, if it's 2 minutes, that's the thing. Brother Lawrence, he said, I started with 1 minute. And then I went to 2 minutes, and then I went to 5 minutes, and then I went to 10 minutes. And he would talk about how he was so frustrated, and he didn't even have cell phones back then. But he was so frustrated because how easily he was distracted from the presence of God and hearing what God was doing or what God was saying. And so this is not something easy, and you've got to know that the enemy is going to be doing anything that he can to get you distracted, and to not have you listening to what God has. But You guys, we're no different than Philip. We're no different than Ananias. We're no different than Jesus in a sense. Jesus said, I only do what the Father shows me.
Yeah. So
May we walk in a way where we're only doing what the Father shows us.
it's so good. Well, I just want to thank y'all for your time today. Hopefully, if you're joined us late, I didn't see any prayer requests, but we really mean it. We will lift you up. So let us know. But we want to hear from you in the comments. We want to hear what resonated with you. Was there a nugget that you got to take, with you about your day? Or maybe there's something specific you want to hear us chat about. We would love to just hear from you, hear a bit of your heart, hear what's been helpful. We're cheering you on. I know that both of us kind of like coach by nature, but we really are just coaching cheerleaders. Like we just want to see each and every person answer the call that God has on their life and go as far with Jesus as he wants to take them. And that's going to be different for all of us, but we can testify to his goodness in it. So we thank you for your time. We'll plan to do this again. I don't know, babe, next week. You want to?
Let's do it.
Sounds good.
Let's do it.
All right, y'all. Can't wait to hear from you. Chat with you soon. Bye-bye.
See ya.